Thank you, Pat. You said a lot of what I would say about this. It's really exciting. I've been here 20 years and I've seen this place as a vacant shell of what it used to be. I lived in Pittsburgh for a little while right after the steel industry collapsed in Pittsburgh and studied economic development there. And it's interesting to see the parallels about how a community recovers from the loss of a major employer and industry. And I think we're at that point, the tipping point of getting over that trauma, or at least being able to see that trauma as our history and be able to focus on the future for this site. And it's really exciting to see the submissions that we got from our RFEI that we issued back in the early January timeframe, 2 of which are depicted here, blueprint on the right, and a grain mill that's proposed for the parking lot on the left. Those are just 2 of 23 interesting expressions that were submitted that I think chart the course and really start to demonstrate what can happen here at this site. And you know, I think it would be remiss for me not to also point out that the UCETA board has accepted a major new role that I think is an exciting role for an organization that's been fairly sleepy for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And it'll be exciting to work with you, Sarah and Ward, and the rest of the board as we shepherd this through and choose from these expressions that have been submitted which are the things that the UCETA board wishes to move forward once the transfer is complete. That's really the process from here. I think Pat alluded to this a little bit, but we have the resolution that was authorized by the legislature to make the transfer. Next will be UCETA accepting the transfer, and then the legal paperwork and process that needs to take place, sort of like a closing on a house, although much bigger and more complicated. And then once that closing is complete, that UCETA board will ultimately be the one that's responsible for moving forward. And you know, I think while it's important to, as Pat alluded to, engage in community, engage with the legislature on that decision-making process, ultimately 25 years of no action really is something that we have to see an end to. And I think it's exciting to think about the things that can start to happen relatively quickly, like the movies in the parking lot that we did last summer and hope to continue this year, and other events that can happen outdoors, tenants that can start to take up occupancy in the building, either short-term or long-term, and ultimately bringing the whole building back up to life. So I'm thrilled to be here and can't thank you enough, Pat, for the overwhelming challenge, but the good challenge of trying to help rebuild our economy and our community as we come out of a once-in-a-lifetime crisis. It feels like a humbling responsibility, but one that I'm really excited to be a part of, and I think all of us here probably share that excitement that we're in a place where probably we couldn't imagine being a year and a half ago, but ultimately it puts us in a place where we can ultimately accomplish a lot of the things we've all wanted to do. So appreciate it, Pat, and I'll pass it along from there.